All right, Jim McCarthy.
It's 1985, and I'm making my friends sleep on the sidewalk overnight. Although to be specific, it's not all my friends, it's just one. It's the one that I'm pretty sure is going to do it if I ask, and that's Eric Christofferson, doer of many crazy things. But this one particular crazy thing had a reason, and that was that if he wasn't at the door out in front of Seiko Music in Sumter, South Carolina at 7 a.m. the next day, no matter how cold that chilly winter night was, we would not get tickets to Bruce Springsteen's concert in Columbia, South Carolina a couple months later. Some of you may not remember this, but back in those days, if a popular artist came through town and gave a concert, you had to be standing at the window when they went on sale, or you would get shut out, and there was no StubHub or eBay to go buy tickets afterwards either. So we convinced him that he should take all our rolled up 1s and 5s and 10s and whatever else we had and truck down there and sleep overnight, and maybe we gave him a thermos of soup, I don't know. But he did it, and he got tickets, and we were very happy about that. Now it occurred to me that in that same year, I added to Bruce Springsteen's personal wealth in another way too. And that was that I walked into the comfortable, large, well-lit, and amply stocked Camelot Music Store in Sumter, South Carolina, in the mall there. Went over to the S section, picked up a copy of the Born in the USA record album, walked to the counter and paid for it. No lines, no waiting. And therefore I contributed in two ways to Bruce's personal wealth in the same year. But interestingly, I felt slightly different about those two purchases. In 1985, you were going to pay $15 or $20, and I'm going to say $17.50 for a record or a tape, or possibly even still an 8-track. And that was the way it was. There weren't many alternatives. You didn't have many person-to-person ways of selling things. It was just the way it was, and every record cost about the same amount. Now, on the other hand, I paid $17.50 for my mid-level concert, my mid-level seat to the Bruce Springsteen concert, and that seemed like a premium price. Most concerts at that time, you'd expect to pay more like $10, maybe $12 for a seat like that. But in this case, it was okay. We already got Eric to agree to go out there and sleep overnight, so, you know, Bruce plays a long show, there's no opening act, it's him for 4 hours. They go off stage and they come back, play Rosalita, which, you know, takes you all the way through 12:30 at night, you're sleepy and you're like, okay, let's get out of here. But it's worth it, it's a premium show and it's totally worth it. So we plunked down the money, and even though it felt like an expensive ticket, we bought it anyway. So that's interesting that I paid the same price, more or less, for two different products and felt differently about that. And let's dig into that a little bit more. Before we go on, I want to translate $1985 into $2008. If I paid $17.50 for something in 1985, that would be about $35 in today's money. That's about the rate at which it's inflated over the years. So we're going to talk $2008 from now on. And I want to do an experiment, even though I already know the answer because I went online and checked earlier today. By show of hands, how many of you would expect to pay about $35 for a CD or MP3 copy of the Born in the USA album, or really any album, any normal sort of album? By show of hands. Don't see a lot of hands. Now just, by voice, tell me, would you expect to pay more or less than that?
Less.
Less, okay, you're right. In fact, you'd pay on iTunes today $9.99 for the very same content I bought in record album form 23 years ago. Now let's do the other side of that. How many of you would expect to pay $35 for a mid-level seat to Bruce Springsteen's performances today? And he's still touring. He's touring very well. Okay, not many hands again. Few, but not many hands again. Now, by voice, would you expect to pay more or less than that?
More.
More, you're absolutely right. And I'll tell you, for the upcoming show at the Meadowlands, you're going to pay about $65 for that ticket. So while the one product has gone from 35 to 10, the other has gone from 35 to 65. Welcome to the world of Live 2.0. This is a world where live entertainment rules the entertainment economy because it's by far the most profitable part of it. It's a world where bands like Coldplay, Radiohead, and others charge literally nothing for their recorded music, but charge an absolute fortune for their tours, for their tickets to their shows. It's a world in which the band The Police, the very popular band from the 80s, The Police, make more money on their North American tour in 2007 than in their entire, very successful recording career put together. And it's not just music either. It's a world in which the top price of a Broadway ticket has gone up by about 300% since 1985, and where the value capture is greater and greater all the time. Even the mid-level tickets have gone up 40 or 50%, inflation adjusted. It's a world in which the seats for the NBA Finals, actually, somebody told me this just today, that they paid $5,000 a ticket for 200 level or sort of mid-level seats to the Staples Center for the recent Lakers-Celtics NBA Finals. But at the same time, TV ratings are actually disappointing. This is a world where it's not just the high glamour events like Hannah Montana or something like that that can come into a market for one weekend and sell millions of dollars worth of tickets, but where things which are with a much less hip or somewhat nerdier events with a more focused niche audience, like the opera. In a major city like Los Angeles, the LA Opera can fill 3,000 seats several times a week at an average price of somewhere between $100 and $125 a ticket. Every week, all the time. This is a world where, in short, the market value of the canned product, and by that I mean the recorded product, the electronic product, is constantly dropping, while the value of the live product is constantly climbing. So, if I were you, I might be asking, why is this happening? Well, I have two opinions on that, two reasons that I think you'll probably agree with. First is that society has changed. The doom and gloom of recent months notwithstanding, as a country we're richer than ever. I was just looking the other day, the square footage on the average American house since 1985 has gone up 40%. Hard to imagine, but it's true, 40%. And the growth in the self-storage industry has gone up by a far higher percentage than that. I hate to even think, it's probably thousands of percent. So we've reached the point where we no longer need to fill our homes with material possessions. They're already full in many cases. But our lives are never as full as we'd like. And so what do? We're looking for experiences to fill our lives. And that's something that's really plays into what the Live 2.0 and the live entertainment business is all about. But that's not all. Going along with these societal shifts is technological shifts, as many of you are aware in your job lives. When the internet and other networking technologies make things cheap and easy to get, the price plummets. We've seen this in a number of different fields, some to the great chagrin of the people in that business. When the price plummets on something, we begin to take it for granted. Although we love our iPods, we no longer expect to spend a lot for music. If someone were to try to overcharge, and I think in many cases the record companies did that, consumers react by using the power they have to get it for free, even if it's not completely legal. And it's not just music, it's movies. As soon as the bandwidth increases, it'll take care of that problem, and everything else that can be made into electronic form. In fact, if you read Wired magazine frequently, there was an article by a man named Chris Anderson. The article is called Free. I suggest you read it. It's a very good article, and he makes the point that as the marginal cost of delivering something goes down to zero, the price is bound to follow. Well, Chris, you're right. But the live entertainment business is not there, and that's why the value capture has shifted from the electronic product or the canned product to the live product, and it's a good place to be. And that's my message to those of you who are either in the entertainment business or who are entrepreneurs thinking about where to go, especially if you have an entertainment focus. And I want to encapsulate my advice to you in the form of the two Bruces that we already discussed. One of these Bruces hasn't had a hit record in decades. The other makes an absolute fortune touring. One of these Bruces is too old to compete with today's young names like the Pussycat Dolls or Miley Cyrus or Akon, or the ones that are really still making the hits. The other is still one of the 10 best touring artists in the world. You know, I have a feeling that it's not an accident that the guy who made his bones, really built his legend on all those little seaside bars on the North Shore in Jersey, making that special connection with the audience and making that audience feel specially connected to each other, understood a long time ago that the live product was where it was at. And that for him, the day would come when he couldn't make hits anymore, but that he could always keep doing that and do well doing it. Well, instead of giving in to all the negative thoughts that are going on in the entertainment business, I want to invite you instead to join us in the lead on the Live 2.0 revolution. Think about where you fit into that. Think about how you can contribute to it. And just like Bruce, I predict you'll keep rocking and making plenty of money in the process and having a lot of fun for years and even decades to come. Thanks very much.